Hey guys, it's Mrs. Kincaid, and I'm back with Book 2 of Shadow House, and we are ready for Chapter 30. All right, here we go. When we get to the end, make sure you go to Plato and the messenger part and put in Book 2, Chapter 30, and we'll find out at the end what we're going to discuss. All right. "They're coming!" Poppy shouted as she stepped back onto the rooftop. But when she looked around, she realized that Marcus and Izumi were gone. "Do you think they jumped?" asked Dash, swiping away the tears and the blood that had gathered just above his lip. "Jump? They'd have to be crazy," thought Poppy, and she flew towards the railing that faced the river. The ground below seemed very far away, much higher than the 5 stories they'd climbed. Nobody was down there, not even Cyrus. But where'd they go? A commotion rang out from behind them. The hatch, a floor below, burst open. "Poppy, we need to move." Oops, my page is stuck together. Hold on. Without thinking, Poppy lifted herself up and onto the stone railing. It was just wide enough for her to find her balance. She reached down and helped Dash with his crutch. They stood together on a few inches of ledge at the highest point in Larkspur. There was nothing behind them but air and nothing protecting them from a fall. The stars seemed to throb overhead in time with the beating of Poppy's heart. She closed her eyes and she bent her knees. "Consolita," she thought, "please protect us." "Poppy?" a voice echoed into the evening. Poppy froze, clinging to Dash's arm. "Over here." The voice seemed to be coming from their right. So, edging to the corner of the railing, Poppy glanced down and saw the Larkspur's pitched slate roof just 2 levels below. Izumi was crouched beside Marcus, who was clutching his knees. The two were perched inside a crevice where one of the gabled windows met the roof. "Be careful," Izumi called. "Marcus fell. He hurt himself really bad." Poppy felt her stomach twist. From the staircase there came a sudden crash, followed by the groaning on the iron steps as bodies barreled upwards. The specials burst out onto the rooftop again. They were like wildcats who had been released from a cage. Matilda had found Irving and Aloysius. "Oh no," said Dash. Poppy felt the messenger bag swaying at her side. "Do we fight 'em?" "I don't think I can," said Dash. "My ankle." "Okay, lower yourself down," Izumi called to them. "Quickly." The specials paused just by the stairs as if they were waiting for something. Then Poppy gasped as Dylan came slowly up the stairs behind them. His clown mask was in place. His shoulders were squared as if he was refreshed and ready for war. He was one of the specials now. The whole group zeroed in on Poppy and Dash. Their plastic faces turned as one, their hollow eyes like pits. Poppy screamed. Dash cried out, "Leave us alone!" "The stonework is like a ladder," said Izumi. "You can do it." So remember, Marcus and Izumi are below these guys. They're on a ledge, and the specials with Dylan are coming towards them. And so now Izumi's down below saying, "It's like a ladder," the way the building's made. See what they do. "Oh, okay," Poppy choked out. She and Dash lowered themselves down, looking for the next outcropping that they could step on, and footfalls rang out as the specials and Dylan rushed towards them from across the balcony. A gust of wind nearly knocked Poppy off balance, and she clung even more tightly to the base of the railing stone posts. Then the cat mask appeared, pressed into the space between the posts right in front of Poppy. my gosh, you guys. Matilda reached through, her fingernails swiping at Poppy's face. Careful, Dash shouted. Poppy slipped down, catching herself on an ornamental ledge a couple of feet below, pressing her body against the stone wall. When Dash did the same, the crutch fell from his grip and it flew away, twisting in the wind before it disappeared around the side of the tower. Glancing up, Poppy saw Matilda, Aloysius, Irving, and Dylan climbing over the railing. They weren't going to stop. They couldn't stop. She knew this. Something in the house wouldn't let them. There's another ledge. It's only a few feet below the one that you're on, called out Izumi. But you've got to be careful and hurry. Can you make it? Poppy asked Dash. Dash's face was contorted with pain. I'm going to try. Poppy held on to the stonework with one hand and helped Dash down to the next ledge helped him down to the next ledge with the others, trying not to get tangled with the messenger bag that still looped across her chest. When Dash made it, he balanced on his good leg and reached up to guide her down too. Only a little bit further, called Izumi. Poppy looked up. The specials were already helping one another climb the space just above them. Matilda whipped her head around and faced her. Dylan, Dash cried out to the group overhead. I know you can hear me. You've got to fight it. Whatever it is, you're stronger than this. But Dylan threw back his head and chortled. That's like a kind of a mean, evil laugh. Matilda shook her head with pity as she looked at Poppy and Dash. Please, Poppy said, her voice barely rising over the wind. We want to help you, just like we did for Randolph and for Esme. You can be free. Poppy thought of the moment when she had first removed Matilda's mask in the elevator, of the girl's surprise, which was apparent in her bright blue eyes. She remembered talking to her in the music room, gaining the first hint of that this house's foundation might have cracks, that there might be a way to actually beat away the evil that lived here. But when Matilda's mask had been replaced, she ran off back under the controls of Cyrus or Larkspur. Matilda pulled one of her monstrous dolls from her pocket, a pocket of her uniform, and she waved it at Poppy. Its ceramic face was smashed open, and it was bald and naked, and it looked heavy. She held out her hand and released the doll. It dropped quickly, smacking Poppy's shoulder and knocking her off balance. Poppy swung her arms out as if she could flap back to as if she could get back to safety, but she felt herself tipping away from the building. Dash tried to grab onto her t-shirt, but he only managed to get his fingertips on the bottom of the hem of Poppy's shirt, and she tumbled off the ledge. And that was enough to pull him forward too. The pitched roof rushed towards them from far below. Oh my gosh, you guys, they've fallen off the roof. Holy cow. So this is my question. When you go to Plato and the messenger part, you're going to put in Book 2, Chapter 30. Are Poppy and Dash going to live? Or is this the end of them? What do you think? All right. See you in the next chapter.